Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei, or is it something bigger than that?
For more than a decade, the tablet market has been completely predictable. Apple launches a new iPad, competitors race to catch up, and nothing essential changes. We've seen faster processors, sharper screens, and thinner frames, but the central idea remains the same as Steve Jobs presented in 2010. But what if everything we thought we knew about tablets was about to become obsolete? According to various sources within Asian supply chains, Huawei is on the point of breaking that repetitive cycle with something that seems impossible. They would be developing the MatePad T-Glass, and if the leaks are correct, it could become the first fully transparent tablet that actually works in the real world, not just as a curiosity of laboratory accumulating dust in some research center. Transparent screens have been promising for years. We've seen conceptual videos at tech fairs, futuristic models in films, and prototypes that never reach stores. The problem was always the same. In controlled environments with perfect lighting, these screens look impressive, but when exposed to real sunlight, they become practically illegible. Low brightness, poor contrast, and energy consumption capable of depleting a battery in 90 minutes. This is where the situation becomes interesting. Industry analysts claim that Huawei would have resolved the brightness problem if they really achieved acceptable levels of contrast and proper visibility in broad daylight. We wouldn't be talking about a minor improvement. We would be facing a technological advance that would place them between 3 and 5 years ahead of the rest. According to reports, the technology combines a transparent LED panel with microlayers of quantum dots and an adaptive backlighting that only activates in the areas where content appears. The experience would be like holding a sheet of pure glass. You can see through the device toward the desk, the room, or any object that is behind, but inside the transparency floats applications, documents, and videos as if they were suspended in the air. Some engineers compare it to augmented reality without a headset, where the device itself acts as a window between the physical world and digital information. Let's imagine an architect reviewing construction plans. Instead of switching between a tablet and physical plans, digital designs overlap transparently on the actual site, visible through the device. A medical student could manipulate a three-dimensional transparent model of the human heart while simultaneously looking at their book underneath, creating layered learning impossible with traditional screens. Designers could draw on real objects, seeing digital creations superimposed on physical surfaces. This is not science fiction. According to sources in Chinese research centers, Huawei considers this technology as the basis of a completely new ecosystem for work, education, design, and smart home control. The specifications indicate this will not be economical. A 12.4-inch screen with 128 Hz refresh rate and 2.8K resolution. The processor would be the Kirin 9000S, with RAM around 12 to 16 GB and storage starting at 512 GB. The battery capacity ranges between $8,000 and $10,000 1030H. The device will be compatible with the M Pencil 3, with Huawei including both the stylus and magnetic keyboard in the case, something Apple charges around $350 extra for on the iPad Pro. Fast charging reaches 100W, going from empty to 85% in under 40 minutes. However, the software remains a serious problem for those outside China. The MatePad will work with HarmonyOS, meaning total absence of Google mobile services. No Play Store, Gmail, YouTube, Maps, or Drive. Within China, this isn't a problem since the local app ecosystem is solid. For international buyers, it's an impressive device that cannot run most everyday applications. There are third-party stores and manual installation options, but these are often inconvenient and unreliable. Many banking apps or streaming services don't work. The MatePad Pro already stumbled on this limitation, receiving hardware praise while being practically unusable for most Western users. As for the price, estimates place it between Y8,999 and Y12,999, 1,250, 1,800. A premium value that could exceed the iPad Pro, whose base model starts at $999. The launch schedule points to a possible announcement in Q2 2025, with China arrival in Q3 and limited international availability in Q4. No arrival expected in the United States or Europe short-term due to trade restrictions. But Huawei didn't stop with just the transparent tablet. They just launched a phone with an 8,000 nits brightness screen, the most luminous smartphone screen ever created, almost 3 times brighter than most high-end models in 2025. The United States spent years trying to curb Huawei's ability to manufacture devices of this level through the most aggressive technological sanctions in history, but they did not succeed. The Mate 80 series has just been presented with 4 different models, and it is necessary to analyze how this was possible and what this means for the rest of the industry. The Mate 80 base starts at Y49999, about $660, with a 6.75-inch screen and Kirin 9020 chipset. The Mate 80 Pro ranges between Y59999 and Y79999, 825, 100 with 12 GB RAM and the Kirin 9030 processor. The Mate 80 Pro Max costs between Y79999 and Y89999, YD100 240 with a 6.9-inch OLED screen, 16 GB RAM and Kirin 9030 Pro. The Mate 80 RS Ultimate Luxury model runs between Y119999 and Y129999, 1,650, 1,790, featuring 20 GB of RAM, the largest amount ever in a Huawei flagship. As for brightness of 8,000 nits, most current high-end smartphones reach between 1,000 and 3,000 nits at peak. The Mate 80 series almost triples that. It maintains excellent readability in direct sunlight on bright beaches or midsummer. Although Huawei does not share detailed specifications of their chips due to the sanctions, they published performance data. The Mate 80 base offers a 35% improvement over the Mate 70 with Kirin 9110. The Mate 80 Pro with 12 GB of RAM also shows 35% improvement over the Mate 70 Pro with Kirin 9020. The 16 GB versions and the Pro Max reach an increase of 42% compared to Mate 70 Pro Plus with Kirin 9200. These generational leaps are enormous, especially considering they achieved this without access to advanced Western equipment. The cameras reflect the same ambition. The standard Mate 80 incorporates a 50-megapixel main sensor, an ultra-wide 40-megapixel with f2.2 aperture, and a 12-megapixel periscopic telephoto lens, plus a multispectral system of 15 channels. The Mate 80 Pro adds a 50-megapixel main camera with 1.28 inches and dual periscope with 4 and 8 magnifications optical zoom. The Pro Max and RS Ultimate models feature 50-megapixel telephoto cameras with 6.2x to 12.4x optical zoom, physical aperture control, TOF sensor for facial recognition, and the X-Mage algorithm for processing. The batteries stand out too. The Pro Max and RS models have $6,000 mAh, while the Mate 80 Pro has 5,750 mAh. All support 100W wired, 80W wireless, and 20W reverse wireless charging. All models carry IP68 and IP69 certifications for demanding conditions. The sanctions that were trying to stop Huawei did not stop them. The company built its own supply chain, developed their Kirin chips with 7nm processes, and launched HarmonyOS 6, a completely independent system. The result is a device that competes on equal terms and even surpasses, in some aspects, the best that Apple and other leading brands offer. So, did Huawei dethrone the iPad? Honestly, not globally, not with these software limitations, and not for the average consumer looking for something simple and functional. The iPad continues being the safe and practical option with an ecosystem that simply works. But did they create a device that makes all other tablets look conventional and outdated? Undoubtedly. For the first time in 15 years, someone develops a tablet that not only matches Apple's specifications, but completely redefines what this format could be. The transparent tablet will not dominate sales in the next quarter, but it forces everyone to rethink the future. In 5 years, perhaps we will see opaque tablets in the same way we observe phones with physical keyboards today. The future becomes transparent, and Huawei has just shown us what it looks like. What do you think? Will transparent tablets replace traditional ones, or is this just expensive innovation without real purpose? Drop your thoughts below, and if you don't want to become obsolete like old-school technology, subscribe to our channel for more content like this.